Hi, everyone. Welcome to Spirit Switchboard. I am your host, Kerrilynn, and you are listening to us live on the United Public Radio Network, 105.3 in the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM out of beautiful New Orleans. If you would like to stay up to date with all of the shows that UPRN has to offer, you can follow along or check out their website at uprntalkradio.com. We have so many shows and so many new shows that have started and joined the network. So you can check us out there. If you'd like to watch us live, you can watch us on Roku, Twitch, I believe, Facebook, YouTube. We have thousands of archives anywhere that you listen to your favorite podcasts. We are on all the major podcast platforms. You can find us there. Hi, everybody. If you are liking the content that Spirit Switchboard has to offer, please take a second to subscribe on YouTube. Follow along. Hi, Heidi. Hi, Michelle. Lisa Crick, hello. I am so glad that you made it. This is going to be fun having you in the chat. I'm really glad that you are here. For those who joined in or listened, or if you didn't, you can take an opportunity to listen to the archived show from last week. Actually, Lisa's been on a number of times. She was on with Nicole Tito as well too. Third party controller, hello, thank you for being here from Colorado Springs. Yeah, so much. Okay, let's just jump into it. I was trying really hard to be grounded for this. Hi, Julie, because I have so much to talk to Erin about. Oh, good. I'm glad you found your headphones. Those, if any of you follow along, hi, Kathy. If you guys follow along on social media, I just finished the 12 Days of Giving on Facebook. It was a blast. So every year I do this thing called the 12 Days of Giving sessions, opportunities to go on paranormal investigations with me. We do 12 days of it, and it is a blast. So it just finished yesterday. Thank you for making it such a success. It was fabulous. If you head to my website, which is just kerrilynn.com, you can sign up for the newsletter. The newsletter will give you the heads up to who's going to be on the show in the upcoming month, places where I'm going to be, special exclusive offers in the newsletter as well too. So that's just at the website kerrilynn.com. So my guest today, I believe it was actually a Jeff Belanger post on Instagram that I saw, and it led me down the Erin Taylor rabbit hole. Which was fabulous, and I'm excited that she agreed to come on the show. And so Erin Taylor is an author, and I'm adding this into her bio, which is not something that she sent, but I'm adding it so she can let me know how she feels about that when she gets on. But researcher, there's so much research that has gone into everything that she's done, and that label needs to be attached to her as one of the hats that she's wearing. So author, paranormal investigator. So her books include Sleeping Among Spirits, Unfinished Business 1 and 2, and Stange Colorado 1 and 2. Please welcome to the show, Erin Taylor.
Hi. I'm totally fine with researcher, by the way. I guess that's something I do.
It is totally something that you do. Yes. Yes, researcher. Let's just put some of this. Oh, yeah, it is. You know what? I forgot that it is Friday the 13th.
I purposely did it, schedule it that way.
Purposely you did?
I did.
Tell me why.
It's Friday the 13th. Just because, of course, of all the, the lore about it. And, I mean, we might as well have done on the full moon, which is in 2 days anyways.
Yeah. And so Lisa is just saying, hey, sis. And she's like, that's my girl.
Lisa's my boo.
She is. I just adore. I adore her. I adore her. I'm so glad that you're here. Michelle is saying hi, Erin. Heidi, who is also
Hello.
from Colorado, saying hello. Third party controller Erin is awesome.
He's married to me. He has to say that.
No, he doesn't, actually. No, they're usually the ones that hold us very accountable for everything. But I'm glad that he's here supporting you as well too. The post, the post from Jeff Belanger on Instagram had you standing in a haunted bathroom talking about or holding your book up, Unfinished Business, which was so brilliant. And I knew that I wanted you on the show, so I'm so grateful that you came on. And so your significant other is saying, ask Lisa, I'm good at being mean. I don't know about that. If you guys seem to travel a lot when you are writing, and there's a lot of travel involved, so you have to get along pretty good if you are doing that much traveling and investigating. And
yeah, sleep definitely plays a big factor in it when we're not sleeping. So Mike just made the comment of Lisa being cuffed in jail. Yep, there it is.
Lisa, do you want to pop on? You can pop on with us if you want. You want me to send you the link? I can invite you. It's okay to say no, but you are more than welcome to join us in the conversation.
And Mike's drones made a casualty in Lisa's windshield when we were in Indiana a few years ago. There was a power line that wasn't seen until the last moment. And Lisa, you totally can come on. I would love it, but it's up to you. No pressure. But yeah, we were out in Indiana and he's flying his drone, and Lisa's car and drone met and didn't like each other. So
brand new windshield. Oh. But it's a story, and it's a story that you get to share. And you mentioned Lisa in book 2, actually.
Yes. Lisa's actually who nudged me to do the number 2, right? In case anyone was wondering, the title was 100% intentional. But she and I were out in Savannah and bebopping around, and we're at a couple places, and there's haunted bathrooms. So in that book, there's Moon River, which sadly is closed now, the Savannah Theater. And then Lisa's telling me about all these other places that apparently she was holding out on me when I was writing the first one. And so there's a lot of Lisa Crick stories in number 2.
Okay. So Lisa's agreeing to sending the link. So I'm going to send her the link, and I have a couple of questions. We're just going to roll back. So for people that maybe have not met you before, including myself, if we, I'm interested because everyone's always going to ask those questions at the beginning about how you got started or where you went to. I want to know what kind of books you read as a kid. What kind of books did you read? What kind of, movie wise, The Shining did it for me as far as bathrooms, but I always read Stephen King as a kid. And now, my kids, my oldest is 31 and the baby is 19, and I have a granddaughter, but now it's like I have Unfinished Business on my on my shelf. And so they are having access to these other books. So I'm curious about what kind of books you read as a kid.
So I was kind of all over the place as a kid. Of course, there was Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. All 3 of those books, those were absolutely stellar. I also did things like Little House on the Prairie, Anne of Green Gables, Babysitter's Club. And then it all advanced to R.L. Stein, Christopher Pike, the original Vampire Diaries. Is it L.B. James? I can't remember the author's name. Something James, but it was what inspired the WB's series. Books were much better in my opinion. But yeah, so I always had the spooky lore. I mean, Stephen King, I fell into that when I was middle school, I think. And Pet Sematary was the first book that I read, followed closely by The Shining.
My sister has been on the show a number of times, and she loves telling that story about, I'm 7 years older than her, that as a kid, I would read her Pet Story or Pet Cemetery to fall asleep at night. And she was like 7 years younger than me. So I'd be 12 and she's just little, and I'm reading Pet Cemetery to her as a little kid, right? But those folklores start young. They start young and they stick in the back of your head for a long time. And then as an adult, you start hearing those folklore stories, and it triggers those memories and responses, like, or fears that may have started when we were young.
What's up?
Hey!
Haunted bathroom stories.
Oh my gosh. So
what kind
many.
of books did you read, Lisa, when you were a kid?
Stephen King. Stephen King, and I'm older than Erin, so I couldn't read hers, and I'm older than Richard, so I couldn't read his. I read Troy Taylor's books, but he's younger too. So yeah, anything horror I could get my hands on, anything horror. And I won't lie, Harlequin romances and stuff like that. So I go back and forth between romance and horror, and just rinse my palette of either one of them.
That's fun. Yeah, it was all. And Farley Mowat. I read a lot of Farley Mowat actually too. Like Never Cry Wolf. Michelle, hi, Michelle Wilfong. Thank you for being here. Can you share how the first book started? Like the inspiration for it? I love it because I love that somebody wrote it. There were so many stories. Somebody had to. I'm glad that you did.
So we're talking about unfinished business, right?
Number one.
About being the only, it's my claim to fame that, I don't know if it's claim to fame, but the only person who was brazen enough, curt enough to write about haunted toilet. It has a, keep me my language under control, but it's got a couple other like names to it that never made it to print. But apparently it started at Ashmore Estates in Illinois. I happened to make a comment about a haunted bathroom, and I don't even know. Richard Ostep was doing review for his book, and he's like, "Well, you got inspired by it." I thought I got it at the Mass Paracon in Concord, Massachusetts, because that is, again, I'm making comments. Someone had said something about the bathroom there was haunted. And I was like, well, why hasn't anyone written a book? Like, well, no one wants to write about toilets, right? That's a gross place. But there are so many places, and it kind of piggybacked on my first book, which was, sleeping in places that are haunted. It's like places that you're vulnerable and just thinking, well, what if there is a ghost watching you do number two? I mean, that's a little awkward of a situation. And I'm thinking about the first
really
time.
Watching you. They're hanging out with you in the bathroom, but they're not really watching you.
They're more like that.
Yeah.
I mean, you might have the pervy ghost who's like peering over, but at the same time, you don't want to think about that. And I'm thinking about like back before I started investigating things like that. I was at the Stanley Hotel, speaking of The Shining, and it was a public ghost hunt, and we're in the women's bathroom, and the story is in the first unfinished business that spectral observers. Oh my goodness. Shaking my head at him. But Welcome to my daily life where he mixes
No,
things up.
keep it coming, Mike. It's awesome.
Yeah, so on a public ghost hunt, and it's just like I am scared to death. I'm thinking I don't know what I'm doing, and I had to go pee, and I had to go use that bathroom, and it's like the whole time going, okay, I'm sorry, I'm in here, and of course now I've done some things. Now it's like someone says, oh, a haunted bathroom. I'm like, all right, cool, let me go, because now I've become that person. And yeah, welcome to a show about TMI for everyone who is in here, but it's set on bathrooms. Lisa's got her stories in the book, but actually I think, Lisa, you've had more experiences than I have. And yeah, so like I was saying before Lisa came on, number 2 was Lisa's fault, because she was telling me all of those
scared
stories.
the number 2 out of her.
I love grade 4 humor. I love inappropriate humor. I love a good play on words and punny stuff. I just love all of it. So on this 12 days of giving that I do on Facebook, one of the things that I gave away, I think it was day 4, was an opportunity to join me on an investigation that just happened over the weekend at a place called the Albion here where I live in Guelph, Ontario, outside of Toronto. And one of the first stories we hear when we get there is that the bathroom's haunted. And I'm like, oh, y'all need to turn up for the podcast on next Friday, because like that's exactly what we're talking about. And everyone there, it just started a conversation, Erin, about every city's got the haunted hotel with the haunted bathrooms, and you just happen to be the one to write the book, but maybe some Ontario or Canada places need to be like you're going to be writing. You could write about haunted bathrooms forever, I think.
Right. There's been a lot of jokes. I've heard about unfinished business, the turd, with just those poo jokes. And I mean, it's the stories are gathering, and it's just on the back memo for now. I've got a couple other projects that I'm working on, but yeah, they do just come out, no pun intended. Oh my gosh, it comes out of the blue, right? It's like when you think you're done and then your stomach says not again. It's more stories keep coming.
Percolating.
It is like a bad dinner, and it keeps you coming back for more.
I've got your next title. Pass the Pepto, I gotta go again. No? Okay.
I can thank Lisa for my my cover, number 2.
For the number 2 cover?
Yeah, so see how well I can actually show on there. Oh, it's going to blur out. We can thank my husband for the location. So last summer, he decided to end up in the hospital. And that was his bathroom. And it was creepy and red. And why is this? And Lisa, of course, happened to just mention, I'm not thinking about my book, of course. And she says I should use it for it. And it's like, oh, cover idea. So.
And the cover for book 1 is Robert Murch's bathroom.
His old bathroom, yes. He's moved since then. But yeah, those are all counterfeit boards that he'd collect. And where were they going to go? They're going to go in the poo room.
So for those who haven't seen the cover for book 1, it is the picture of all the Ouija boards in the toilet, all the Ouija boards surrounded in the bathroom on every wall.
Yes, I was very disappointed when I went to his house, his next house. I'm like, why is your bathroom boring? And he just kind of laughed at me. So,
well, it's forever in memory in the book now. Like,
yes,
crap board for a crap room. Your husband's on it tonight.
He got some sleep. Yeah, I am not offended when people tell me it's a bathroom reader. I'm like, like if you want to have like, if you're guests, you want to give them some reading material because they don't have their phone in there, they could use it for toilet paper. I don't know, but I think
People
that
really
last
said that. I've got my yeah. People say that, like that it's the bathroom reader. I guess I get why they would say that. I just,
And the stories are short enough that you go in, you read a story, you're done with your business. They're the perfect length for that.
Mm-hmm.
There's
question the
so
bathroom
much,
that you're in.
and
Right.
but there's so much more, like more to it could be. It's no different than any other room in the house, really. But when you think about the bathroom, there's so much emotion, just like a theater, that would happen in a bathroom. People cry in the bathroom, people get angry in the bathroom, people try to avoid other people in the house by hanging out in the bathroom. We try to hide from our children in the bathroom. And their little raccoon fingers underneath going, "Are you in there? Are you done yet?" Like a lot of emotion in the bathroom. I don't know.
A lot of people die in the bathroom too, if you think about it, because they go there in pain and pass, and yeah.
So that is such a thing. And Erin, I have worked as I've been a medium my whole life, been able to connect from the time I was little, full-time as a career for 18 years. And it comes up a lot, so much so that it is a little fear that I have. Like, I do not want to die in the bathroom. And then I have to like clear, cancel, delete, because I don't want to manifest it, because I'm saying it so freaking much that I'm sure that's what's going to happen. I don't want to die in the bathroom. Don't want to die in the bathroom. It'd be like an Elvis Presley moment, right? Like, no.
Don't be Elvis.
No.
Don't be Elvis.
No. Well, and then I was telling friends who work as nurses, paramedics, they all say it happens so much more than what you're aware of. Like, so much more. Just regular, not even talking about hospitals, motels. Was there, because I know that there's a huge list, but a commonality to any of it? Did you see a commonality to any of the stories when you were researching?
Not really. What's interesting is that a lot of the so-called hauntings of these rooms were not related more so to, I thought I just froze for a second, to a bathroom. It was people who had died somewhere else in the location, but then made their way in. And so a lot of times it was trauma. I did see that, where, when we look at hauntings in general, and I don't know if it's something with the running water. Does that do something where then there's more, they're more, they can actually, draw that and use that for activity? Is it the emotions that come out of it? Like when we're hiding from everyone in the bathroom during COVID, it was like my commute, I had to go and like decompress, and it was just like a safe room. But in those emotions, why is it in there? And then on top of that, some of these places I noticed that wasn't always a bathroom. And so it could have been a bedroom or something like that where, other things had gone on.
Right. And if it's a bigger building, is there the possibility too where the doorway or the portal is actually from underneath and coming up through? It just happens to land in that floor and that bathroom, where it's not actually like that, it's roaming through the building from something from underneath coming straight up. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
If it's earthbound, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could it come up from, in the plumbing? There's so many different questions. It's like the question and joking is like, why is it always the women's bathrooms? Now there are men's bathrooms, of course, but it's, what is it about, females and drawing that?
Or
And
more
so like a
emotional.
psychologist, yeah,
Right.
emotional, even maternal, caring, nurturing. Does that have something to do with it too?
So if there's anybody from Ontario or who has visited Niagara-on-the-Lake, that would be in the chat. It's a place called Old Angel Inn in Niagara-on-the-Lake, and the bathroom's notoriously haunted. Everybody talks about this bathroom being haunted. And downstairs they have like one of those Grecian kind of naked statues, but they put a leaf over it. So then they started the story. The story was, if you lifted up the leaf, that there was a camera that was hooked like directly into the kitchen so they could see if you were taking a peek underneath the leaf. I don't actually think there was, but the bathroom was definitely haunted. So I was trying to find it somewhere so I could play it for you guys today, but my daughter went into that bathroom. But she's a Doctor Who fan. So anybody here, do you guys watch or pay attention to Doctor Who? No.
I was
Dr.
David Tennant. That was it. I failed.
Okay, so there was the show where the angel statues would like move every time. So don't blink, don't blink. The angels would move. Yes.
Yes.
So that's kind of what it looked like. So there's this whole video of my daughter walking backwards out of that haunted bathroom, filming the statue going, don't blink, don't blink, don't blink, don't blink, don't blink, don't blink. It was so funny. But the fear of it and the folklore and the story, we feed it. So can we create the haunting by talking about it?
Sure. Yeah, then we go into thought forms, and is the story told enough that becomes the haunting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can go on totally different tangents talking about like the power of beliefs.
Yes, that we can create it. And so many people putting their energy into that belief system or that thought form that we created. I just wanted to hit Polar Nights is popping in from North Norway and was asking, it is a few old ghosts out there that don't know English. How do you relate to them? Have you guys had ghosts show up that aren't?
Yeah.
I do have questions as well too.
I've had in a private investigation somebody come through completely speaking in Spanish, and thank God one of my the folks in my group spoke a little better Spanish than I did and had a conversation with them. But that's the only time I've ever had anybody that wasn't speaking English, and that was in Chicago.
What about you, Erin?
I am trying to, nothing that jumps out at the top of my head, nothing that I've had to use translations for. I know other investigators who will use like the Google Translates and things like that in trying to get some sort of communication. So honestly, I'm feeling a little sheltered right now. It's like, got to broaden. All right, Lisa, we got to plan a trip abroad. We got to go do this. But
I'm in.
I haven't been abroad at all either. Like,
all right, we're gonna all do it. We're gonna all go.
Yes.
And
my first trip away from home, I was in my early 40s, and I went to Tupelo, Mississippi. First trip that I went to Tupelo.
To Elvis's house to visit Elvis's birthplace.
It wasn't the intention to go to Elvis's. It was for to meet a friend, but it was the first place that I went was Tupelo, Mississippi. But I've had spirits come through at very public events or at theater events that I've done, and it's just one word, but it helps with the evidential part, in order to connect. So, yeah. That's
You have to think about where we're going, Erin. Where are we going to go this time? So I can start researching it.
Haunted bathrooms in the UK. There's all kinds.
Yeah, I wrote about the one in York, and then there's other ones.
Denise Smith is sharing a light flashes upstairs at the bar in the Old Angel Inn. Agreed. I know the Old Angel Inn in Niagara on the Lake is definitely a place that is haunted.
So
you're
he's
having
reminding me. Asylum 49 is out in Tooele, Utah. It's the old General Hospital now, haunted house attraction. I apparently repressed that memory of it, but I want to say that was through the spirit box. But yeah, like I said, my memory is poor. I remember it occurring, but nothing to give any cool story or anything behind it.
Hi, Wayne. Thank you for being here. We were just talking about the bathroom at Old Angel Inn. Oh, see, she's saying a light flashes upstairs at the bar in Old Angel Inn whenever the leaf is lifted on the statue that's in the bathroom. I purposely
Light show.
Yes. Well, I mean, if that's the story, but I mean, I don't really. Is it true though, Denise? I don't know. Wayne, do you know if that's actually true? It would be better if the spirits were actually flicking the lights back and forth if there was somebody actually in the bathroom. But
I'm just thinking about false positives. Like someone's like, "Oh my gosh, they're messing with the lights over there." No. It's just someone, touching leaves.
yeah, I don't know if you could actually do a full investigation there without having interference at all. Like it's so full and so busy and the bar runs so late. Like I don't know if you could really avoid any interference in that building to do it true. But Niagara on the Lake is pretty haunted itself. Just they have it wired up there so people laugh when you come back upstairs. I laugh loud enough in the basement bathroom that I'm sure they can hear me laughing downstairs doing it. And I was trying to figure out how to do the SOS, like Morse code or something with the light. Crazy. And one of the places that you mentioned too was the Denver International Airport. And I had my son on a segment, and we were talking about folklore, and that was one of the ones that he talked about was the Denver International Airport.
Yes. So I don't know about any haunted bathrooms there. There probably is, but
oh, that's from Haunted Colorado. Sorry, Stange Colorado. Yes. I'm picking out of all the books now, Erin.
Yeah, no worries. No, DIA is I think it's the third largest international airport now. Where I had to cover it in the Stange Colorado too, because first off, we have a murder horse. It's a big blue stallion, lovingly named Lucifer. It killed the guy who made it.
With the red eyeballs. Doesn't it have red eyeballs?
It's supposed to be orange to be for the Broncos, but no, that's not how they look. When they first put it up, I remember it was black, and it was black with red lights, and that was cool. Now it just looks like it wants to get you. I still love Lucifer though. He's great. He welcomes everyone in and out of the airport. There's conspiracies of the lizard people that supposedly live down in the tunnels. One of the news channels did a tour, and there's studies that said 3,000 miles of tunnels, I think. Maybe not 3,000, maybe 300, because that's a lot of miles. But it would take a few days to actually tour everything. So of course people are like, well, then the lizard people could move from one area to the airport to the other area. There's old bunkers and things like that. And so then there were stories about the rich people were gonna go and stay down there when there was some sort of apocalypse. The Illuminati I mean, there is just so much stuff stacked on it. And DIA will have fun with this, and they'll say, hey, yes, we have all of this. And of course, I have to joke, all right, well, people who play into things, they're either having fun with it, or they're like, oh, ha ha, yes, we have that. Don't look at the man behind the curtain. Heidi mentioned the end of world paintings, which are gone. I am actually highly disappointed in this, but we had some sort of painting in our baggage claim where it looked like a World War II soldier like slaying children and things like that. And those were actually up in the airport. So it was completely bizarre. All this stuff that goes on in that airport. And then on top of that, the runways are supposedly looking like a swastika. I mean, there's enough for, like, I included everything in one chapter.
Wasn't there that sort of imagery in the mural too?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the mural was highly inappropriate. It's available on the internet if anyone wanted to Google it and see it. They took it down in 2018 for while they were doing renovations, and it's still in storage. I mean, it's 7 years later. We know that it's not going back up.
Thank goodness. Like, everything about that's inappropriate. Like, it was kind of shocking when we saw it. But the lizard, like the reptilian stuff, interests me. It interests me now to see, like, the way that the world currently is and how we're talking, what kind of other stories will come out of it. Or if there's more that will be revealed, right?
Mm-hmm.
CP Schreier is that was on my list actually for one of the Canadian places. So happy Friday the 13th. How about the bathroom upstairs at the Keg Mansion in Toronto? Agreed. It is. It was on my list of ones that I had wrote down for the Jester's Court. Jester's Court restaurant in Port Perry. Any of our Ontario listeners? Have you guys been to that one? Apparently it's haunted as well too. And there's the Ritz-Carlton in Montreal. You really should come to Canada. Like, we could do overseas. Lisa, we need to get you here too. We keep talking about it.
I kept trying to win your 12 days of Kamali says, Mom, you need to go.
Agreed. We can hit up all of these places, and not just for the haunted bathrooms. But do you find, like, how long have you been doing? Is it okay for me to ask, Erin, how long you've been doing investigations?
Oh, yeah, that's totally fine. Since I've formally joined a team would be 2013.
Right.
But I've done like amateur stuff since probably college. That was just more, maybe a little bit in high school, but it was like I'd go to a haunted place, and then, but like the investigating would only last like 5 minutes because, either I got scared, someone I was with got scared. I mean, it was just very, very short lived until 2013 when it was, I could do something that the people on TV are doing, wasn't as exciting as the people on TV, but it became a habit.
As they made it appear to be.
Yes. I mean, you go into a location and you've got like things, boom, 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 boom. You've got, any more on the shows now, you've got demons popping out every 5 minutes. And, it's just, I don't know. I haven't met a demon yet. I'm pretty sure that they're not as frequent as TV would like to believe. I would like to not be proved wrong. But, I can go all night for something and just have 30 seconds of activity, and that's enough for me.
And be okay with that high intention, low attachment, having no expectation that something's going to happen, because they are not there to be our entertainment monkeys. They're, you know what I mean? We're going in their space, and they may not want to interact that evening anyway. Like, there's just there's so much to it. Where I was asking, or where I wanted to go with this was, not being necessarily as scared. The more that we do this, the more experiences we have, the less fear we have of those things. Like coming back to bathrooms, I used to be so scared of the bathroom upstairs at my grandmother's house. That's where the bathroom was. And I used to see the spirit standing at the top of the stairs at her house when I was like 5 years old. So I would run back through the field to go to our house, like where I was growing up, to use the bathroom instead of bypassing all of those spirits at my grandmother's house to get to that bathroom. But now I'm like, they want to hang out with me in the bathroom, they just go ahead. Like if you really feel like you need to hang out with me, that's fine. There's less things. I'm not as scared of any of that stuff anymore. I'm more scared of like the people that might show up, like the real living people or stairs that I can see through. So have you found the more that you're in this paranormal world, there's less, like how has it changed? Any fears, given you fears? I'm scared of dying in the bathroom. Like I'm scared of having that death in the bathroom. That is definitely something that's happened for me, but everything else, not so much. Crook Patterson Mansion.
Yes, I got the Crook Patterson down, but let me finish one thought. The fear itself, I think recently it's like I was thinking about it. Yeah, he's on a roll tonight.
He's on a roll. Keep her coming, Mike.
He's on a toilet roll. Tip your waitresses. But squirrel moments in life. Okay, I got distracted by demonic poopers and fear. Yeah, so I think my big thing is, I'm definitely worried about real people because we know they're a little bit more predictable too than spirits. Going back to like the demon word and things like that. I mean, people in life could be how they are in death, and anything that is unexpected to cause harm. I also don't want to be that arrogant person that I'm out investigating and I'm like, oh, nothing's happening, so I feel ballsy and then go do something that causes harm. I mean, actually, Lisa, I'm going to give an example of one time I actually did get a little worried. Was last year we were out at Brushy Mountain and the bathrooms were clear across the yard, about the space. That was fearful walking in the dark, not because I'm walking to, potentially, the whole place was pretty haunted. It was amazing. But it was more the uneven ground and I was by myself and I had limited light. So snakes. Oh gosh. Yes. The snakes were out. Bigfoot was out.
This?
Tennessee.
Yeah,
that's where we heard Bigfoot. Dude, not even kidding. It was.
You guys were together on that?
Yeah, we got to go back there. That place was hopping.
Now you got me. Tell me about Bigfoot and the uneven ground. I agree. Uneven ground at nighttime, and then add snakes and Bigfoot. No wonder why you'd be scared walking across that to go to the bathroom.
So this place is back in the hills in Tennessee. It's not too far from Harriman Hospital, which is another great location to go to. But while we were there, I'm like, hey, let's go to Brushy Mountain State Pen. So we go. Erin and Mike fly in for the night, which is, by the way, where I was handcuffed. But we get there, and what does that say? That's where you. He fell asleep in solitary. He kills me. So we're standing out there, and the guides are talking to us, and they're saying, okay, you as a group, if you have everything in your car that you need, you can't go back out to the parking lot because there are feral hogs running around. And also watch your step in the yard, because there are copperheads in the yard that will just coil up overnight. And I'm like, what the hell have we gotten ourselves into? So as we're standing there talking, we hear this scream, sort of a yell type thing off in the distance. And yeah, and everybody, we all looked at each other and we said, and Erin was recording, and we're like, what the hell was that? And one of the guides that's telling the stories go, oh, that was a coyote. And I go, listen, I've been around coyotes. That was no coyote I have ever heard in my life. And so we're all, I mean, every one of us is going, we probably had what, 10, 15 people there. I think maybe 10, maybe 10. And all of us are like, that's not a coyote. It's not a coyote. And Erin's like, I think I got it on my recording. So she sends it to this person that she knows that deals with cryptids. And that person goes, oh, that's a female juvenile, and probably from around the eastern United States. And we're like, whoa. Yeah,
y'all were talking, so I couldn't hear it. It's like, well, we weren't looking for Bigfoot.
Right. We're looking for ghosties.
All goes together. It all is one big jumbled thing. It is not separate. From my experience, if you have ghosties, you're going to have like Orby lights, which are potentially something else from space. You're going to have cryptids. It's all part of it. You can't have one and not have the other. It's just
paranormal is just not ghosts. Yeah,
that's right. High strangeness. Oh, let's. Polar Nights is joking that his mother-in-law is a demon. And good friend Jen talking about the haunted bathrooms might come in handy when you need a square and no one else is in the bathroom. Third, so Mike is saying where you cuffed Lisa to the trigger object. What was the trigger object?
Lisa.
I was the trigger object.
You were the trigger object.
I'm just standing there and he comes up behind me and just like throws cuffs on me. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And so then he marches me through the prison, and I was screaming. I was robbed. I was framed. Get me out of here. I mean, we were having fun with it, but I think because I was female, I really didn't trigger anything. Had I been a dude, I might have, but yeah. Got to wear, and the face that I'm making as he's cuffing me, they got a picture of it.
So do you think those haunted bathrooms, it's the reaction? Like maybe some of those ghosts like the reaction that they get from people and once they're scared, like that, if they are, maybe they weren't a nice person when they were here. So they get that big reaction. So it feeds their energy, gives them a boost on the other side, so they stick around and do it some more.
At the Monroe house, yeah, definitely.
Wow, eh?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean,
Erin, could you
they're dead, they got a lot.
Sorry?
Oh, I was just saying, like, if they're dead, they might have a lot of time on their hands, and scaring people might just be something to pass the time.
Maybe. That seems so douchey.
Well, if they weren't nice people. Me, I'd go around hiding their toilet paper. It'd be more pranky.
Flicking the light off so you're sitting in the dark.
That was Lisa Moon River. The investigator there, light switch was across the from the urinal that the guy was at. Ghost turned the light off on him. What happens?
So the bathroom at the Albion, so it was Guelph Urbex, who's been on the show a number of times as well too. Jacqueline Goldman, she runs these walking tours here in Guelph, and the group that she had at the Albion the week before had the bathroom light go off on them while they were in there investigating. So the light definitely goes can go off and on. The cat story, could you, I think that's in book 2. I think it's book 2. Is it in book 2 with the cat meowing? Do you know what I'm talking about, Erin? I think it's in the forward, right near the beginning. I have a husky story that I can share about that. Hauntings in the bathroom.
There's a cat in the bathroom at Fox Hollow Farm while she's trying to find that, which is
story while I figure out what's going on.
Okay. So in Indiana, there's a place called Fox Hollow Farm, and it's where purported serial killer Herb Baumeister lived. And he would go pick up gay men at the bars downtown and take them back to his house and kill them, and then just like toss them out into the woods. But the woman who owns the place now, she and her husband, they have like 7 cats. And I was there this was the first time I visited, and I've been there probably 20 times or so. But the first time I was visiting, I went into his, I'm sorry?
Where is it?
It's in Indiana. It's just north of Indianapolis, a suburb of Indianapolis. And by the way, Herb drove to Canada and killed himself. So we tie you in too.
U.S. drags us into stuff all the time.
That's right. So when I was there, they said that there's supposed to be a portal in the men's bathroom, in Herb's bathroom. So I went in and I sat down right dead square in the middle of it and didn't get anything happen. But I went, nobody ever investigates the woman's bathroom in the master suite. So I went over and sat down in there. And as I'm sitting there, there was another lady in there with me, and this white cat walked in right by her, stopped, looked at us both, and turned around and walked right back out. And I went, "Did you see that cat?" And she goes, "What are you talking about?" I go, "The cat that just walked right by you." And she goes, "There's no cat." And I'm like, "There was a cat. I saw it." So then a little bit, I was like, okay, that's weird. And so a little bit later, I was downstairs outside of the Herb called it his like playroom, but it was like, it's just a rec room, and it's right off of the pool because there's an indoor pool. I was just outside of the doors, the sliding glass doors. And I was like just off of the patio into the grass. And I was looking out at the woods. And as I'm looking out at the woods, I feel a cat rub between my legs, like crawl in and out between my legs. And I look down, and that white cat takes 2 steps in front of me and disappears in front of me. And I'm like, what? I'm not even a cat person. I don't hate them, but I'm a dog person. And so I was like, so I asked the owner, I'm like, "Vicky, do you have a white cat?" And she goes, "No, but I've seen that white cat too." So yeah. So did you find your story?
Sorry, there goes Mike. He's saving my computer.
Uh-oh.
No, it's about time I get upgraded. Thank you. I'm trying to I had at Hinsdale House, we had a cat there, but that wasn't in the bathroom. Cat goes hunting, and that was in the first book.
That could be it. It may not have been in the bathroom, but I remember reading there was about the cat haunting, and it was in. I thought it could have been in the first book, but that's okay.
Maybe it's your investigator.
And now I'm questioning myself. Yeah, so we had a cat, Dash, who he was so chill on a leash. I could take him ghost hunting. Unfortunately, we lost him a few years ago, but yeah, I mean, he would go into the haunted bathrooms and be okay. But yeah, no, believe me, I am a crazy cat lady, and I would be all over ghost cats. I'm like, I'm racking my brain. Megan Mike had just chimed in that it was Hinsdale House. We had a disembodied cat meow.
Yeah,
So,
I think that's what I think that story is in there. I think that story is what I read, that there was a meow that was
Oh,
that was
it wasn't this one. It was Sam Baltruse's Forward. That's
Thank
right.
you.
Okay. Now full circle. We're good. Took like 20 minutes for that story.
It's okay. We can go right back.
He was worried that the bathroom at Hinsdale House was haunted. Yeah, and so he was talking about that. He was talking about the cat in there. So yes, okay. So Lisa, thank you for telling Fox Hollow Farm. I had an experience with a real cat there, but that's neither here nor there. But I want to hear this husky story.
A husky story. I was scheduled to do a group event. So I was getting ready to go to this group event. So I was in my own home, like at my own house, just, doing my business, going pee before I got to go do this big event for all these people. And I'm sitting down going pee, and all of a sudden I hear a husky howl right beside me, enough that it scared me. Like I was like, as I'm going pee, because the husky howled right beside me in spirit. So I'm like, I don't know, dude, who you belong to, but none of us here. Wash my hands, go out the door, go to this event. And so at the time when I was doing those sorts of events, I would go around I'd have everybody kind of sit in a circle, and everybody got read. And so I would go to each person really quickly and just do like a Coles note of who was standing behind them. And then I would go back in and give them a bigger message after. And I got partway through that circle of people and went, oh my goodness, you're the husky owner. Your dog scared the pee literally out of me. You must have been asking your dog to show up to this event all freaking day, because that dog showed up early.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I love that story.
Yeah, it's super. It was, and they're like a husky howl. It's a howl, and it was right beside me as I was trying to go pee. Crazy. So yeah, I think hauntings and we had another bathroom too, like the bathroom that we in another house that we stayed at, that we were living in. The owner used to bang the cupboards, and it was just because he was so proud of the cupboards that he had built all of that. And in weirdness, I had done another event. I had called a cab to drive me home, and as we were getting to my house, the cab driver's like, oh my gosh, that's my parents' house. And I'm like, oh, so did your dad make the bathroom cupboards? Yes. Did he die this way? Was there a cat? And she's like, yes, and yes. And so like she was able to validate all of these crazy things that I was experiencing in that house, including her dad doing all of this stuff in the bathroom. Welcome to my life.
That is cool. That is so cool.
You've got another person to contact for your third book now. You can ask Kerrilynn about contributing to the third book.
I was so excited, like talking about bathrooms and hauntings, and I think that we all go to the bathroom. We all go to the bathroom. We're all gonna die eventually. All these conversations just need to be normal. It's normal. I'm going to do, I'm just going to pause really quick and do our station ID just at the top of the hour before we start going sideways, and I forget to do our station ID. So I'm going to do our station ID really quickly. So if you are just tuning into us now, you are listening to Spirit Switchboard. I am your host, Kerrilynn Shellhorn, and you are listening to us live on the United Public Radio Network, 105.3 in the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM out of beautiful New Orleans. If you would like to know more of all the different shows that UPRN has to offer, you can check UPRN out on all of their social media platforms and uprntalkradio.com. All of our archives are on all the podcast, major podcast platforms for you to listen to. And if you are liking what Spirit Switchboard has to offer, please take a second and subscribe on YouTube. I would greatly appreciate that. Today's guest is Erin Taylor, author of Stange Colorado 1 and 2, Sleeping with Spirits, and Unfinished Business 1 and 2. And our surprise extra guest, Lisa Cook, is back, who has been on a number of times. Black Mirror Scrying, Estes Method, Paranormal Investigations. What else have we talked about, Lisa?
We're talking about putting together some sort of weird ancestor thing.
Oh, yeah.
And so notorious or infamous ancestors. Yeah.
Yes. We're going to do
I
that.
don't. Yeah. Yeah. We also talked about doing some sort of seance thing a while back.
So we can still do that. I'm going to do a live seance on the Porch group, on the Intuitive Development group. I'm going to do that over the holidays.
We talked about bringing Kim Sage in on that, remember?
Yeah. So in these bathroom hauntings, like, do the mirrors play a factor, I wonder, too? Would the mirrors play a factor in those bathroom hauntings? You know, like Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary.
There's a theory?
Yeah, there is the theory that mirrors are portals. That, yeah, I mean, like Bloody Mary is popular childhood game. I remember being like, I have actually never successfully played Bloody Mary. No, I take that back. 2 years ago, I did play at the Queen Mary, just because I could.
Did you really? Erin, you need to look at my
we were on
what the heck? That is like poke for sure.
I am, I mean, Lisa can tell you, I will be that girl who will throw myself into the fire because there's a chance I'll get burned. And
she is that girl.
That tomfoolery of walking that fine line. Of course, I'm not going to be, ignorant and going, come at me, bro. Huh?
Yeah.
She's not disrespectful. Mm-mm.
Right. And it's more of, I want to experience the things. I will go in there and do it because I want to. I want to be able to have, like I said, that 30 seconds of whatever. And so if it's something like Fox Hollow Farm, but the first time I was there, I was the only girl. And it was, hey, Herb hates girls when you go in this bathroom. It's like, well, sure. Like,
yeah, I would.
That's the part I can play.
Yeah.
But I'm always like, make sure you get it all on film. Somebody's got to get it on camera. Make sure that we're getting the evidence on camera, so it's not just a personal experience that people want to like poo-poo it because we don't have the. And
Erin is hardcore skeptic, very hardcore skeptic, and she's very logical. So
with that, I find like very left brain is very open at the same time.
I love working with her because I'm all woo-woo and she's all skeptic, and it really meshes well. Same thing with Nicole. It really meshes well because I need that to bounce off of.
But it's open-minded. Like that's open-minded.
Yes.
Being open-minded and just then that it's something when you are not just saying that the lights are flickering and it's something in spirit. Like you're taking the time to debunk everything is really important. And even though
Absolutely.
I talk to dead folks all day long, every day, I still say like the dimes that you find in the Walmart parking lot, you just got lucky. That's not a dead person. It is not somebody giving you a sign in the Walmart parking lot.
Yeah, but if you're grieving and you find a dime and you think it's from your mom or dad, I'm not going to tell you no because you need that for comfort.
No.
So I will say if you think that's your sign, then that's your sign. And if it makes you feel better, let it make you feel better.
Right. and we still have to educate people in how they can ask for those signs in a way that is sort of, it's debunking all the other stuff, but help educate people too. I feel it's responsibility as well too. Julie, hello, my friend. Julie is sharing bathrooms might also be extremely haunted because of all of the water. Yes. Isn't water a catalyst or a conduit for spirit? Agreed. And like the places that I have worked out of where potentially those bathrooms are haunted as well too, a lot of them are limestone buildings along a river.
Yeah.
So those limestone buildings also, or those older buildings, play a factor in it as well. Do you guys have thoughts that you'd like to share about that?
Yeah, get out of my head, because I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking limestone buildings because Indiana's got a lot of limestone. So, yeah.
Well, Colorado has a lot of the old basements and things like that. Yeah, they just basically threw whatever rocks they could, but a lot of it's limestone.
Yeah.
What is it about limestone? Exactly. Is it?
It's a conduit.
But why?
Nah. I'm not sciencey.
Is it the
Because we were told so. That's good enough.
Not always. I'm always, but so Erin, I was thinking about this too. I feel I'm good at my job, even though I've had this ability as a kid, but as an adult, I'm just nosy. If you're going to show up in spirit, I'm going to ask you 1,000 questions to make sure I know exactly who you are and why you're here. 1,000 questions. Nosy. I'm going to be nosy. And so when you're researching, is there part of that? Is part of that just like, let's find out all the information that we can in wanting to know the story, wanting to know the history? Is it that sense of curiosity? Where does that drive come from?
There's a part. Yeah, I want to know where the origination comes from, but also part of me kind of just wants to be an a-hole and prove everything wrong, and be like, oh, well, I grew up with this story, and I think it's because I have been disappointed before by like thinking like something's real and then it's like that's not real, that I'd rather just sabotage myself. But I like being able to look at where is the actual history behind these things. Like there was a story in Unfinished Business 2 about the Boulder Theater. Heidi probably knows this one very well. And there is a story about a haunting in the bathroom by a man named George Paper who hung himself, and he messes with people in the bathroom. Well, there was a man named George Paper. He was a very well-respected, highly decorated man, but he did not hang himself in the theater. He died of an illness over outside of Denver. And so it's things like that where it actually helped kind of give him credibility to his name, because I mean, he was such a well-respected man, and now people are running around saying, well, yeah, you killed yourself and you're haunting this place. And that was never the case. He might be there as a residual spirit or something because he loved working in the theaters, but it was something to be able to give the other side, like the real story. Now, people are going to believe what they want to believe, but sometimes I think it's also, these are real people in these stories. I mean, if they're real people, then telling that.
Yeah. And where they start, like
that was a story about George Paper. There you go.
Like where those stories start, why they even start, like, and then the more people that feed into it, right, where it goes sideways. But yeah, I agree, digging deep. So is there another folklore story that you dug into where it surprised you when you pulled back all the layers, like that one you were able to debunk? Was there one that once you dug in just left you with more questions, like you were down a rabbit hole where it's like curiouser and curiouser?
A couple come to mind. One that I had an absolute blast investigating was, America's Mountains here in Colorado Springs. America the Beautiful was actually written by Catherine Lee Bates. I should say Catherine, not Kathy, because of her being on the mountain. It inspired all of that. Well, with the Pikes Peak Highway, we have the Phantom of the Pikes Peak. That story has been told, I think, since the 1970s. Story, just for sake, is it came down to it was a motorcyclist. He was traveling down Pikes Peak Highway. It was dark. There was a woman who was nude on the side of the highway. He felt really bad for her. He put a coat on her and brought her down to the toll gate. And then she hopped off the bike, threw basically the jacket back at him, and ran back up the mountain. He's like, what the heck? Went to go put the coat on. There was a receipt. It was like 1934. Again, dates escape me. He's like, well, that was weird. It was the gift shop up at mile marker 13. And over time, other people started having these same, seeing the Phantom hitchhiker, and same thing. They would offer her a ride, or getting her down. She would never say a word. And then she'd just run back up the mountain. And soon she got the nickname Desperation Mona. Well, the story behind her was there really was a woman named Winona Roberts. And she was on her honeymoon, had just gone up to the mountain. On the way back down the mountain, brakes went out in her car while she was driving. Car went off the cliff. Husband had just a scratch. She didn't die right away. She died a few weeks later in their Manitou hotel of a brain aneurysm. Nothing really came to light. They said her death was an accident. Husband went on to marry 2 more women. Seventh was pregnant and someone tried to kill her by rattlesnakes. She would not die, so she drowned. Police in California were investigating this, and they're like, well, that's really interesting that your other wife died. Nona was the 5th wife of this man, who basically was now going around. It came that he was marrying these women, and then they would just have these mysterious deaths, and he would take the life insurance. So he was dubbed the Rattlesnake Killer. And he was the last man to be executed by the gallows at San Quentin. So that one was a really super cool story. I could not prove that her ghost was there, but mile marker 13 is the Glen Cove Inn. It's the last place for people to get their brakes checked and stuff like that when they go up and down the hairpins. But there is a ghost named Helen who is there, who supposedly worked there and died in a snowstorm. Now there's no evidence of her, but her ghost is there. So that's the mystery of the Pikes Peak Highway, where yes, there was a legitimate murder, this whole crazy case of the husband, but she's not there. But Helen, there's no proof for who she is.
So could those 2 stories kind of be blending over each other? Do you know?
Maybe.
Yeah, they could be.
Yeah.
Sorry. No, that's okay. I just find it fascinating how the stories even start. It's like the telephone game, right? One person says something and then it goes to the next person and they add to it and take away stuff. And it just, how it builds, and it builds over years and time till people believe that it's true. And I think that it's important to tear it apart and take a look at it. We can't always believe everything that we hear, right? And sometimes we can't believe what we see either. We're going to, like pareidolia, but there's auditory. Is it the same? What is it called? Is it the same thing? What's it called?
Mm-hmm. It's the same. Your mind is trying to make something out of what it's experiencing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's why like Estes is so popular, more than like listening to a spirit box, because if you're looking for a name and your ears are automatically looking at the spirit box for a name. Meanwhile, I got Lisa, wearing headphones. I'm looking for a name. She has no idea what I'm looking for. And if she says something like that, that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, we did Estes at the Albion with folks last weekend, and before we started, I said it's always really important to introduce yourself, right? We're in somebody. If there are spirits here, we are in their home. We're in their space. If they're here, this is their space. We need to introduce ourselves. And then the person that had the headphones on first had her name come out right away. Like they were saying hi to her and used her name, and it came through loud to her. So I like asking that question, who's got the headphones on, and see if their name comes out at them. Like that stuff's, it's wild. Using the Estes is wild. Cecil Hotel. That was in your Cecil Hotel interests me so much. It is you too, Lisa. Have you been? Erin,
maybe we can do that.
No.
Come.
That's one where I'm like, I tread lightly on if I want to go hang out in Skid Row.
We can take Mike.
And no handcuffs.
Yeah,
No
well,
handcuffs.
you might need to have protection over there, and protection in a totally different way. Yeah, but I think Cecil Hotel, didn't they just close down again, or are they back up? I
have no idea, but there's like a Canadian girl that died there.
Elisa Lamb.
I think it's a homeless shelter right now. Honestly, I think it is.
I think that's what they've been doing with the extended stays. Like for cheap, residents could go in and they could stay. And there was the Stay at Maine Hotel next door. But that's where just people were coming down, and then they realized that they were staying in that neighborhood and didn't really want to be there. So I don't think it survived. But yeah, the low economy housing, I mean, that would make sense. There was some guy when I was researching it, he got himself a really super cheap apartment across from the Cecil, and he was documenting like all sorts of stuff that happened. And I think it was during lockdown, and the Cecil Hotel was closed, and there were like people in the windows. Now, could those have been people who broke in? Possibly. But yeah, he had like a front row view to this hotel that, is supposedly abandoned and haunted. And he said there was a lot of stuff that happened. And yep, haunted bathrooms.
Haunted bathrooms. I would think anything about that would be haunted. And again, the energy of the land and the property around it would contribute to it, just like any other, like it would just feed it, right? Especially if it was low energy stuff. What is the guy who was on the dating game? Who was the serial killer who was on the dating game? That love dating game.
That's you.
Robert. I think his name is Robert. It's like alpaca, but it's not.
He stayed at the Cecil Hotel.
Rodney, it was like, Alcara's. Richard Ramirez lived there, the Night Stalker.
And the Australian guy that was a serial killer that came over, he lived there too.
So what?
The guy that they let go. Yeah, is it something that people are drawn to it because of? the energy. I mean, American Horror Story will tell you, yes, Hotel was an amazing storyline, because they drew on the story of Cecil Hotel and the spirits and all like the deviant stuff behind it. And yeah, is that something that, illicit behavior, again, is that like, is someone's inner demons that contribute to negative energy? I mean, all possible.
And
so
like,
many theories.
Right? But I like talking about all the different theories and the possibilities and the what if. Like, I don't know if I subscribe to just one train of thought, even though this is the stuff that I get to do every day. I think that there's endless possibilities, and we don't get to know all the answers right now. That's why it's so important to question everything, question it all. Like, always question it. It's a deep dive. Lisa, what is it about the Cecil that interests you?
Because there's so much history. I think the land is bad right there, because it's been, even before it was the Cecil, there have been things happening there, and then things still happen there, and people go in, and you're just drawn to. You're drawn into depression. You're drawn into it. Just I think it messes with our moods. I think it messes with I don't know. It's just one of those places that I want to go, but it scares the heck out of me. So then I want to push myself to go and push past that fear. But I think it's also one of those places where so many spirits are still there that would attach, that I would want to be with somebody who could help.
Yeah, I agree that. And normally I'm not overly. I don't feed into that very much, I would say. Like, most of the places that I've investigated, I'm not worried about attachments, cognizant of it, doing what I need to do, but not scared. That is one of those places where I think, oh yeah, something would want to hitchhike home with you for sure.
Yeah, or just take over, because I've had that happen. So Erin was there the night that I had that happen.
Which location was that?
At Monroe House.
Oh, yes. Do
you want to share?
That was the first time it ever happened. And she was under when it happened. We were doing what Lisa calls
Estes.
We were doing Estes, but we were doing a triple double.
What is a triple double?
A triple double is where there were 3 of us girls that were under the headphones, and Richard and Jason were the doubles. They were the ones who were leading the questions. And I was sitting we were all in the basement, and I was right beside the hole where the crawl space where there's a body still. And I was holding a pair of underwear, and the underwear had a stain on the front and a stain on the back, and they were men's underwear. And as I was holding them, I didn't even know I could do psychometry. And I didn't know I had any psychic abilities at all.
At the time. Are you sure?
What do you mean, am I sure?
Are you sure that you didn't know that you didn't?
No idea. I mean, so I just got thrown into this. I threw myself into this. So I'm in my headphones, and as soon as I put my headphones on, I start crying. Oh yeah, and this was Erin's bachelorette party. Yeah, I'm holding.
That sounds on brand, Erin. Sorry,
it does, right?
Yes.
So I'm
also
holding.
When I met.
It's when what?
That's when we met.
It is when we met. Yeah, it's the first time we met. Yeah. So I'm holding these drawers and I put my headphones on and I start crying. And Jason like pulls my phones away and he goes, "Are you okay?" And I go, "Yeah, I don't know why I'm crying. It's not me. So let me figure this out." So I'm crying. And then it's like I am in the back of a white Econoline Ford van that's got brown shag carpeting all over the van. And I'm spider crawling back and I'm going, no, 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 no. And this guy is coming toward me. And I know I'm going to die. And I can't see his face, but because I'm in tears, but I'm just crawling backwards. And then it's like somebody flips a switch on the wall and I am going toward the woman. And I'm like, oh, this is fun. This is so much fun. And I'm going to wear these shorts every time I do this. And the shorts in my hand felt like they were just my lucky shorts. And then and apparently I'm talking to somebody because I turned and I said, "If you don't get out of my face, I'm going to effing hurt you." And apparently I was arguing with Jason. And Richard's got all of this in his book on Dark Ground, but you could, on the audio, you could hear Richard go, "That's not even her face anymore. Her face has just changed." And I was arguing with Jason, telling him I was going to kill him and I was going to cut him.
Oh,
and
dear.
Jason forgot it was me, and he said he was going to hurt me. And I mean, we were going back and forth. And meanwhile, Erin's trying to talk, and Laura's trying to talk, and I kept telling them to shut up or I was going to cut them. And they were coming through as women and I was coming through as this guy. It was wild. It was really wild. And I, at one point, threw off my headphones and I'm still holding those shorts. And I'm like, I got to go. I have to go upstairs. I need to get out of here. And Richard's like, well, wait a minute. And I go, no, I need to go. So we went upstairs and I'm in tears. And he goes, what happened? And I go, I don't even want to tell you guys because you're not going to believe me. And he's like, well, just talk us through it. And so I told him, and I'm like, you guys are going to think I'm crazy because I don't know what just happened to me. I felt like I got jumped. And basically, I put it out there to one of my psychic friends, and he goes, you were channeling. You channeled two people at the same time, which is not all that common. He goes, I've never channeled two people at the same time. I go, I didn't ask to do it. And he goes, you got jumped. And it's happened to me twice more at the same place.
And
no matter how much I'm protected.
Well, this is it. So I've had that happen too. And someone said that I didn't have very good boundaries or clearing after. And I know I'm very good about all of that. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. And
yeah.
Having the right people around you to make sure that you're okay to get out of it is so important.
Yeah. Yeah. So I make sure I have those people around and that they know the signs. Usually when my head goes like this, that's one of the signs because they come in through the back of my neck, which this sounds so weird. I mean, it just, unless you do it, it just sounds like
that's where the
crazy.
Communication comes in from. That's where communication comes in from is in that spot.
Yeah, but my head will go down. My mom knows the sign now that when my head does this, she's supposed to pull me out when I'm doing the S, because it happens when I'm doing Estes every time.
That happened to you, Erin, at the same time? Or no?
Nah, she was one of the, she was channeling one of the women, and I was telling her to shut up as the male, but
the conversation was going back and forth between the two of you and what you were picking up from the street.
It was, you and Linda. Meanwhile, I'm getting nothing on mine. Like I'm getting like 1-2 syllable answers.
But they meant something. They were, you were still being.
I'm just sitting there listening to static.
So Jen is asking, what about Zach Bagans' museum with all those demonic items? Does that freak you out? So what about occult museums in general?
I want to touch everything.
Context, Lisa, context.
Well, in the museums.
Yeah,
Especially when we're talking about bathrooms mostly.
we went to Mike and I went to Vegas. Gosh, it was the summer of 2020, so everything shut down. But it was perfect to go to the museum because there were no crowds. Museum's fine; it's great. They just rush you through, and so I would love to, if I were to go back, be able to sit and actually look at things, because he does have such a collection of this and that. But as far as like, supposedly haunted objects and stuff, I mean, I've got a handful of friends who they have their own collection of things.
Do you think, again, it's about energy that you put into it? Like, I have a couple of supposedly or alleged haunted dolls, and they just sit on my shelf, and I don't feed energy into it. And there's like really none. They're there, but we don't feed energy into it. Not saying that there aren't haunted objects, because things we know that there can be. But I think as far as Zach Bagan's museum, it's the Kevorkian van that I would like to put a finger on.
It's heavy in there.
Is it?
I will.
I bet it is.
Lisa will tell you I'm very minimally woo, and that was very, I don't know if it was suggestive, but yeah, that van it had all the feels to it.
Yeah, that's the one I think for sure, whenever it's talked about, that museum in particular is talked about, that's the one. What about the mirror? For you, Lisa? Is it Bela Lugosi? Bela Lugosi's mirror is there as well?
Mm-hmm. Oops, we lost her. Oh, okay. She'll be, hopefully she'll be back. Yeah, so the Bela Lugosi mirror, I looked into it not knowing what the lore was. And that was fine with me. Mike looked into Peggy the doll, the one that supposedly will like haunt and attract like all these, anyone who looks into the eyes. And so I was joking that he was going to run off with her just as much as he was staring intently. But yeah, there was nothing there. The Devil's Chair was exciting. The Gary, Indiana house was exciting. I mean, it was just more of, felt like it was tourist, attraction and things like that.
And so my thought again is like the people that are going through, especially if they're being rushed, every person either that works there or goes through is adding their own energy into the space, adding their own, so it shifts and changes, and the intention also matters.
Yeah, our small little group, I mean, we were with a couple, I'd say like early 20s, and the girl is just terrified. And she's like, yes, you guys go ahead of us. And Mike and I are like, all right, cool, let's just go. And, but yeah, these two, I mean, they were just, because yeah, like you buy into what's going on. Oh, the Dybbuk box. Yeah, that's the other thing that's there. And this was before it came out that, the whole thing was, I mean, no surprise, but it was made up. But yeah, there's just so much of that.
I don't know anything about that.
Oh, the Dybbuk box?
Well, I know what the Dybbuk box is, but I don't know any of the story. I honestly stay in my lane. So I don't pay attention too much to any paranormal drama that happens.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah. So it's a box. I talked to Jason Haxton. So he is the guy who bought the Dybbuk box, and he wrote a whole book, and his book was made into the movie The Possession. Good movie. But I talked to him at Troy Taylor's Haunted America back in 2021. Just the week before, Kevin McManus had come out and said, I made up the whole story. This wasn't real. And so Jason, of course, was all flustered during all this, because he just made like all his money on this box that was supposedly so evil, like where he bought it from Kevin McManus, who had got it from a garage sale. No, sorry, there was a eBay purchase in there, but it was like a woman brought it over from the Holocaust, and it had like the Jewish spirit in it. And then, yeah, so it just transpired. Jason says like he's bleeding out of his eyes, and there's all this hauntings, and he's not a supernatural person. It was this big deal, right? It became a Hollywood movie. And then Kevin McManus was like, no, dude, I just made it up. It was just a box, and I just wanted to get rid of it. So I came up with the story that it was haunted. And but it had so much lore to it, right? That, I mean, even Jason Haxton said it was so wicked that he had to bury it in his yard. And then Zach Bagans bought it. But then it became where Post Malone got into a car accident because he touched the box. I mean, you see this whole thing transpiring, but where is it that, there's actually something, there's nothing in the lore about a Dybbuk box. So that was a very long story about a lot of drama that circumvented about that one.
Yeah, but and then it's the research of it. Lisa, you can still pop in if you want to. You just use the link again. But glad your doggo went to use the haunted potty. And you didn't ghost us all, but you're more than welcome to pop back in if you are wanting to. And that comes back to the research again, right? Like research, really pulling back all of those layers, and then the intention that you want for the space. Like if you are promoting something as really that it is haunted, understanding really the whole history and validating and researching.
Right. And it's things like the Ouija boards, going back to that, where people can manufacture and say all this stuff is haunted, but yet someone who actually knows what they're doing is going to debunk it. And that's like a doll. I mean, there's so many haunted dolls now, and there's so many this and that. And I mean, sure, there could be attachments, but out of how many?
So that comes back to teaching and educating people too, because lots of people will walk through antique markets with some kind of like handheld device where it's going off without looking at what's potentially triggering that false positive, right?
Right.
So,
yeah. I mean, if they got like a K2, man, that's going to go off on anything.
yeah. Yeah. Especially because your cell phone is in your pocket at the same time, giving you all kinds of notifications or whatever like is going on in the building.
They're probably filming it, or they're going live to TikTok. It's all right there.
Yeah. It's a lot. But so, okay, I've been mindful of our time. Places that people can find you. You've got lots of things going on. This weekend is the online Sage Paracon.
Yes. So this weekend is a virtual Sage Paracon. It's hosted out of by Sage, MJ Dixon. It's free for Patreon folks. So like people like MJ, brilliant speaker, Richard Estep, Tim Shaw, myself. It's a 2-day event, and it's only £10, money currency wise, that can be bought through the website. I have the information on my Facebook, my Instagram, but I think I am not even going to give just going to try and attempt at the email or the web address for them. But yeah, any of those pages, it'll be there. And yeah, £10, and you don't even have to leave the house. I was joking. It's like you don't even have to put on pants if you want to go. But I'm talking on.
And I love that.
Yeah, I mean, we're in a day and age of the videos. I work in mental health, and so I'm used to saying telehealth. I'm like, no, this is not telehealth. But I will be actually talking about mental health and the paranormal. So that's something that I'm really passionate about. We could have gone on a whole different, talk on that, about those correlations. But I will be doing that topic at Darkness Con on the following weekend in Westminster, Colorado. I'll be talking about Stange Colorado lore as well. And yeah, that one is December 21st. So I mean, I got a lot of local events going on right now. But then I'll be speaking at Haunted America Troy Taylor's event out in Alton, Illinois with Lisa. Well, she'll be doing her own separate cool stuff. But that one is such an amazing event that so many talented, amazing people. I'm so happy to be amongst them. And
it sounds like a family, like that group of people with Troy Taylor. Mm-hmm. I know Lisa, same thing. She's like you can feel her heart crack open wide, when she's talking about hanging out with Troy Taylor and that group, and with you. She was so excited about you coming on Spirit Switchboard. She's like, that's my girl. So that it would probably feel like a family when you guys are doing that event with Troy Taylor.
Yes. And I mean, it came down to that he and I call each other cousins, and it's like the joke is it's in print, and so it must be real. And yeah, it is. It's really cool. It's really that sense of connection.
And community, right? Yes. Like-minded community. And that's hard even within the paranormal community to find those safe places where it is like-minded all the way, where you get to be transparent with your thoughts and space is held in a non-judgmental way.
It's not like a clique or anything, because unfortunately there are those dramas. I mean, there's dramas everywhere, but it's you can be who you are and not feel judged. Like, hey, I wrote about haunted toilets. I make fun of myself because, my gosh, that's ridiculous. But I also know I've got a group of people who appreciate, and they have their own stories, such as yourself and Lisa, and can say, yep, that is my claim to fame. But guess what? I am the only person who can say that I've written books on those. So call me weird, but I did something that no one else did.
I can't wrap my head around people even making fun of all of that. I mean, yeah, anyway, I just can't. Because it's a thing. What? Of course it's a thing. It is a thing. Haunted bathrooms are no different than like the haunted kitchen or the haunted courtyard or whatever. It's just
it's a room we use every day. But it's got such a, it's a place where things happen that people don't want to outright talk about, but it's a commonality and place, again, of vulnerability.
Yeah. And all of those big emotions and births, deaths, all kinds of stuff.
There's so much. I mean, so much energy that gets put in there. And then again, what happened on the grounds beforehand. Because it wasn't, maybe it wasn't always a bathroom. I mean, there's some places in there, they were hospitals. They were just 1800s farmhouses, inns, just soaked in history.
Merry Friday the 13th, Justin. Good night, James. Thanks for being here. Lisa is saying, giddy that you're speaking at Haunted American Spectral Society. She's also saying that it is fantastic that you've cornered the market on haunted toilets. You freaking rock. I agree. And because I in my head, I had this list. Oh my gosh, if you were going to do this about Canadian places, I know that you could probably have 2 more books just about the Canadian places where you can pull those stories apart.
Yeah, I didn't even touch Canada, to be honest, because there was just so much in America. My first book I have, York, England. I think that's the only one that I have that was out of country. But it was just, everything in the States just pulled out. it will probably be in the works at some point. So send them to me. And this goes out to anyone. Send me ideas. I would love it. I do love writing though. So finding different things to, put together it gets me motivated.
CP Stretchshire is sharing True Keg Haunted Mansion bathroom was originally a girl's bedroom. Your other half, Mike, is saying toilets 3, 4, 5, and 6. I think it's already a done deal. I think it's already
a crappy job, but I got to do it, right?
No. Yes. 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 And do you know, when we were talking about those smaller stories as well, too, sometimes in those smaller increments, it's easier for people to absorb and process the possibilities where it's not, heavy scientific. It's just it's enough to get people interested and open-minded to the stories and there, right?
I mean, it puts a new perspective on, people want to go on like a haunted road trip or something like that, or haunted travels, but it's all right. Well, I know in this bedroom, there's a ghost of this person, but in the hallway, there's another ghost, but in the bathroom, don't think about that one.
Denise is saying, always respect the janitor. That's right. That's right. I just assume there's dead folks everywhere just because that's my experience, right? Like I assume there's going to be a dead folk in the bathroom, hanging out in the living room, hanging out in the hallway. I'm more worried about the elevators in the hotels, about spirits in the elevators. I don't want them mucking in the elevator.
So see a story for another time. We have a hotel out here, Victor Hotel in Colorado. Sorry, again, it's been a long day. First time I investigated there, the manager got locked in oldest bird cage elevator this side of the Mississippi. Something shut down the elevator, and he was in there for 2 hours.
No, thank you.
He took a nap. I was impressed. He slept.
Oh, no. Thank you. Well, I hope that you come back again. I hope.
Yes.
I would love to have you back. And mental health. We could talk about mental health and the paranormal. I would love to talk about all of that.
Yeah, I can. I mean, you were right. 2 hours went by really, really fast. I could easily spend another. So, I mean, anytime you want to have me back, I'd love to.
Yes.
Yeah, this was fun, especially when Lisa joined. So
thank you so much, Lisa, for being here too. I appreciate you just being last minute popping on. We did that last week too. It was the week before actually. So it was a lot of fun. Thank you everybody that participated in the chat, asked questions and commented. I appreciate you all. You guys help make the show what it is. Next week, one of the 12 days of giving. So Rhonda Harris, who is a co-host of the Orion Effect and the Freaking Awesome Paranormal podcast, is coming on with co-hosts, the ladies, Kerrilynn, Leanne, and Kelly from Haunted Gold Rush, the Beyond the Haunting ladies. So we're all going to be hanging out next week. We're going to be doing paranormal trivia. So thank you everybody for being here. Thank you to United Public Radio Network, the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 and 107.7 FM out of beautiful New Orleans. Have a good week, everybody. Good night.
Bye.